Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma. Sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
In a verbal barrage that left Goldberg speechless, Bill Maher attacks the divisive environment of The View, exposes the woke mob's blatant hypocrisy, and slashes through her defense of Hunter Biden's pardon. What does Maher believe about double standards, manufactured outrage, and the left's resistance to candid conversation? And why does his encounter with Whoopi feel like a cultural turning point? Let's begin the controversial conversation that has everyone talking. Bill Maher has returned with his usual sharp and unapologetic remarks, and this time he is targeting Whoopi Goldberg, who is well known for her sometimes divisive and controversial opinions on The View. Maher and Goldberg recently clashed in a heated exchange. In a verbal sparring match with Maher, Goldberg's arguments were readily shredded. Her latest remarks, full of contradictions and poorly thought-out assertions, caught Maher's attention and caused a backlash that made Goldberg defensive. Maher clearly saw an opportunity to set the record straight and didn't hold back, as he usually does.
You can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Earlier encounters with Sunny Hostin set the stage for Goldberg to attempt to resolve the issue, but rather than providing a thoughtful counterpoint, Goldberg seemed to be spouting random arguments in the hopes that something would stick. This is not the first time Maher has had a heated argument with The View. Bill Maher has little tolerance for this, and Goldberg didn't think twice about dissecting Maher's reasoning when she attempted to defend her beliefs. Goldberg was left scrambling to protect herself after the brutal takedown. Goldberg questioned Maher's prior remarks about Black Americans having responsible police, better jobs, and a healthy economy. Maher presented these arguments as simple and universally applicable, but Goldberg veered off course by bringing up other political topics and endorsing ideas that Maher swiftly dismissed as unimportant and ineffectual. In reference to Goldberg's approach, Maher said that she was only perusing the woke playbook. If your playbook is based on logical fallacies and distractions, it will eventually collapse under scrutiny. Maher not only criticized Goldberg's comments, but also the program, describing it as a political train wreck, uncomfortable to watch but hard to ignore. It was about the show's entire culture, which Maher said was more about sensationalism than meaningful conversation, rather than merely politics or right and wrong.
Any matters of politics or what's right or wrong, the one thing I know for sure about America is this. It's run by mean girls. Mean girls in the press and in politics and in life, and when they smell blood in the water, the lust to finish off a vulnerable person will never be denied.
According to Maher, the perspective often puts sensationalism ahead of thoughtful discussion in an effort to stoke controversy. People of all political persuasions have taken an interest in this protracted spat between Maher and the show's presenters. Maher's recent conversation with Goldberg was more than just a simple denial of her claim. It was a more thorough indictment of a broader societal tendency toward ideological dogmatism and anger for the sake of attention. Goldberg sticks to her principles, and Maher makes the same claims. The confrontation between Maher and Goldberg is clearly inevitable. It nearly reminds one of Charlemagne the God's controversial visit on The View, when it was like watching someone perform a daring act as he tried to walk a tightrope over a pit of lions. You couldn't help but feel that he could have entered another universe after that. Conversations are still dominated by their back and forth, forcing spectators to choose whether this is merely more political drama or a necessary cultural criticism. It couldn't have come at a more ironic moment for President Joe Biden to pardon his son, Hunter, who had been convicted on corruption-related crimes. Often promotes the idea that everyone is subject to the law. The president, who has portrayed himself as a defender of justice, seemed to make an exception for his family, as if the law only applied to those closest to him. This was not lost on Charlemagne the God, who immediately exposed the hypocrisy, asserting that if the woke mob demands accountability, then everyone should be subject to that notion. That no one is above the law. Charlemagne even went so far as to claim that he disliked lying. It was almost funny to see Goldberg defend the indefensible, like attempting to assert that the ocean isn't wet while standing knee-deep in it. Whoopi was not done yet, but she conjectured that maybe Biden pardoned Hunter because he was tired of being used, turning the pardon into an act of self-care. The look on Charlemagne's face conveyed his disbelief at what he was hearing. Charlemagne, who was usually quick to respond, sat in stunned silence, unable to deny the absurdity. Bill Maher, who has long been critical of the woke crowd, was unable to overlook this. He has previously observed that woke reasoning demonstrates a stark double standard, wherein people feel outraged when someone outside of their circle commits a mistake, but they abruptly receive a pass and are absolved of responsibility when it is one of their own. Maher dismantled Goldberg's arguments with precision, exposing the view's biased, gatekeeping nature. He highlighted media hypocrisy in defending Biden, criticizing the show's toxic atmosphere and lack of open discussion. Maher revealed the double standards of the woke crowd, showing how they ignore issues when convenient. His critique wasn't just about Whoopi, but a call for intellectual integrity against media-driven narratives disguised as activism. Maher went further in his most recent criticism of the left for ignoring reality and not accepting the outcome of the 2016 election, but Maher Unfiltered offers a welcome dose of truth. Many on the left have been clinging to conspiracy theories about altered votes for years, accusing Russia or racism of being behind Trump's win. Maher was straightforward. Trump didn't steal the election. Millions of Americans supported him, and he wasn't going to give them any more reasons to deny it, even if it made leftists uneasy. Maher counseled the enlightened audience to accept the hard facts and refrain from inventing new excuses after every failure. Democracy sometimes results in the other side winning. This isn't a problem with the system. It's simply the way it's meant to work. Maher has consistently resisted those who want to alter history to fit their narrative. Not just another insult, Bill Maher's latest attack served as a wake-up call for the left. His advice is to quit playing the victim and start preparing for the next election if they want a shot in 2028 or maybe 2032. The message was unambiguous. The system is operating as planned, and the constant complaining by the left will not alter the outcome that Democrats need in order to regain control. Maher advised them to stop griping and focus on the issues that matter to people. One thing Maher often stressed was that not all Trump supporters are ardent MAGA fans. Many of them were just fed up with the left's sanctimonious rhetoric, whether it was the more extreme protests or the backing for biological men in women's sports. The left's extreme viewpoints drove the middle ground further away. Maher argued that voters chose Trump not for his persona, but because the alternative felt preachy and out of touch. He urged Democrats to prioritize real issues over fringe concerns. He also criticized The View and Whoopi Goldberg for silencing dissent while claiming to embrace diverse opinions, exposing the hypocrisy of the so-called woke echo chamber. According to Maher, they are unable to tolerate him since their approach is more about compliance than open communication. The most recent takedown wasn't only a reply, it was a performance. Maher's wit and logic exposed the intellectual dishonesty of the left by instantly dismantling Goldberg's feeble arguments. His ability to cut through the clutter and reveal the underlying contradictions is a welcome change in a culture where everyone is preoccupied with performative outrage. In a time when virtue signaling is the norm, Maher's bold critiques provide a distinct and essential perspective. If you want to see more bold critiques like these and are tired of the same old narratives, you won't find more unbiased viewpoints and perceptive analysis anywhere else. So keep an eye out here. To avoid missing the truth that cuts through the distraction, keep coming back. So what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you don't want to miss out on the hottest celebrity news, make sure to subscribe to Daily Finder.